Yeah, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. So today tutatengeneza this animated navigation bar. As you can see nikihover, there's some changes zenye zina happen. You will use HTML na CSS peke yake. If this video is not clear, I suggest we increase the video content quality to let's say 360 ama 480. So let me head to my VS Code and then we start creating this. So I've created an HTML file called navigationbar.html na nikailink with my CSS external file, ndo hii hapa. This link ina link na hiyo CSS. So wacha tuanze kucode. So the first thing I'm going to create a background div. So dot background alafu nafinya enter. So this background inside it I'm going to create another div called navigation. Now inside the navigation, I'm going to put our navigation nav. So nav. So your nav, I'm going to put an ordered list. UUL ni an ordered list. Then we're going to put our list items. So list items, tutakuwa na home. Then let me just copy paste this. So even though zinakaa. So we are going to our CSS file. Then we style it. So come hapa kwa CSS. Then tuanze na hiyo background, our background div. So our background, we want it to take a width of 100%. I'm going to give it a height of 100 VH. Hiyo inamaanisha viewport height. Then we're going to display flex. So to display flex, ndio our children content tuiweke katikati. So justify content center. Then align item center. Align item center. Okay, so far so good. Then our background color, I'm just going to use pink. Okay, so far so good. Then we come and style our navigation sasa. This is navigation div that we created. So in navigation mostly nataka tu the width, and so navigation I'm going to give it a width of 600 pixels. So hii ni ka container yenye ina hold sasa hii our navigation item ya kuipatia width ya 600 pixels, and then niseme max width 90%. So hata ukishrink this page isipite ya max width of the 90%. So max width 90% and then position relative. Okay, so far so good. Then ni kama hapo sasa we style our nav sasa. Our nav. So for our nav, I can put background color white. So white inaandikwa F3 hash F3. That's the white. And then naweza weka border radius. Border radius inaipatia smooth curve, smooth edges. So border radius ya 50 pixels. Then I can put box shadow. So box shadow ni basically shadow inapia hapa chini. So box shadow, the first thing unaweka ni the x axis, so 4 pixels. The next item ni ya y axis, so let's say 3 pixels. The third item ni the blur effect, so 4 pixels hivi. Then you can put now the color, so I want silver. So as you can see hapa chini kuna some shadow on this box, so hiyo ndo box shadow. Okay, so that's our nav. Then we can style our list. So ataki display hivi ikiwa hivi, nataka display ikiwa horizontal. So I'm going to say nav an ordered list, our list items. I want our list items to display inline block. So display inline block. Okay, so far so good. Display inline block. Then even before that nataka hizi text zikuwe centered. So text align, tarudi hapo kwa nav, text align, then center. Okay, so our text ikuwe katikati hivyo. Then inline block, then I want now margin, kukuwe na spaces between these items. So I'm going to say margin inline, margin inline nipate kama 20 pixels. Yeah, margin inline hivyo 20 pixels. Okay, so far so good. Then I can give it a padding. So I'll go back to my nav and give it a padding. Let's say 20 pixels. 20 pixels, yeah, something like that. Okay, so far so good. So the next thing we are going to style tuipatie hover effects. This is our list item. So cursor pointer, not cursor pointer I mean first. So nikipoint hapa at least ikuwe na hii mkono, that's our pointer cursor. Okay, then what else? Now we can give it our hover effects. So let me just copy paste this, Control C, ni kama hapa, Control V, then nipatie hover. So unaweka hiyo colon, then unaandika hover. So hover, nikihover I want this text to change to white. So color I can say white, niyo hash na F3. So as you can see, nikihover ina disappear, color inakuwa white. So I want some transition delay. So transition delay ni ile inafanya isikue too abruptly, ukihover ina change directly to white. So you want some transition delay. So I want transition the color to take 0.5 seconds when transitioning. So let me save. So as you can see, iko smooth. There's some smooth transition delay, haiko too abruptly hivyo. Okay, so that's our hover. Then we will add a pseudo element. Now the word pseudo inamaanisha something which is not real. So our pseudo, we are going to, that orange thing yenye ilikuwanga hapo, we are going to create a pseudo element that's going to be on top of this, on these items here, on our list item. So to create a pseudo element, let me just copy paste this now, nav link ni kama hapa, ni add hapo. So we are going to create a pseudo after, utaika hivyo after. Now our content, since it's nothing, utasema content weke hivyo hizo nini mbili. So inamaanisha nothing, then with. So pseudo inamaanisha fake. So this is something which is fake, which we are creating. So we are going to give it a width of 100% of that list item, na height ikuwe the same height ya na this list item. So hapa services kwenda chini hivi kwa the same height. So 100%. Then we want it to be positioned absolute. Position not inherit, positioned absolute. Isitoke hapo, ikuwe align with easy list items, ikuwe juu yake. So position absolute. So nikiposition absolute, then our list item I must position it relative. Position relative. Okay, so I'm going to give our pseudo element color. So background color, I'm going to give it a color called tomato. Okay, so naona so far inakaa hivyo. This is our pseudo element. Nadi niki point bado ina hover because it's our pseudo element. Okay, so that's the background color, but I want it to be positioned on top of these, on these words hapa hivi. So I'm going to say top 50%. Okay, imeenda chini. Then left 50%. Okay, imerudi hivi. So transform translate. So nataka ikuwe exactly on top of it. So nitasema -50%, -50%. Okay, so tunaona imekuwa on top of it. Then I'm going to give our pseudo, this pseudo that we've created some padding at 10 pixels. 10 pixels, okay. Then border radius. Border radius ya tuseme kama 30 pixels. Okay, so far so good. There's something called z-index. Now z-index inaweza leta kitu to the foreground ama to the background. So ukiweka z-index of 1 inamaanisha ina come to the foreground. Ukiweka z-index -1 inaenda to the background. Unanipata? So let me give it a z-index. Juu nataka ikuwe chini ya hizo text, I'm going to give it a z-index of -1. Sawa. And then these words, these list items, I'm going to give it a z-index of 1. Sawa. So ikuje to the foreground. So tunaona inakaa hivyo. So imeenda to the back, imekuja to the foreground. Okay? So next I'm going to add some transition effect to our pseudo element in such a way that nikiipoint ndo ina appear. So ndo ni hide, I'm going to give it an opacity of 0. Sasa ndo ni hide our pseudo element. But even before I give it an opacity of 0, nataka kwanza kuiweka ikuwe chini, ndo nikihover iappear nika inatoka kutoka chini kukuja juu. So I'm going to increase this top, I'm going to add 100%. So let's say 150%. at least ndio nikihover ya pia nika inatoka kutoka chini inakuja juu. So okay, it's 160 kutoka hiyo 160%, and then let me copy paste this. Now let me add kwanza acha niitoe opacity 0, opacity 0. So nimeitoa. So nikihover nitasema tu opacity 1 sasa. So let me copy paste this, control C, control V, then nieke now our after, our pseudo element. So nitasema top, si top sana tukikuje 50%, top 50%, let me top 50%, then opacity 1. Hiyo pia kwa sababu opacity ilikuwa 0, then opacity 1. Okay, so naona nikifanya hivyo inatokea sahi, but it's so fast hauweziona nika inatoka kutoka chini. So I'm going to add some transition delay. So nitakaa hapo niseme transition ndio at least ionekane. So transition, our top I want it to take 0.5 seconds, then hii transition ya opacity pia, opacity pia take 0.5 seconds, 0.5 seconds. So let me save. So unaona niki hover on it ina appear inatoka chini kuja juu. Yeah, so that is how we create this animated navigation. If you have any questions, unaweza write it down on the comment section. So thank you for your time. Yeah, subscribe and learn for free.